I don't know if I'm ready for today, but I'm gonna have to get myself ready as we are going to go after the Rift. Now, I can go ahead and place a portal here, which will take me right into the Rift. Now, according to our guide, I mean, going in here is going to be, well, temporary, or so I hope. And it looks like once we go in, we'll get ourselves a Rift charge meter and then a little bit of loot, including some more portal fluid. Interesting. Now, the portal fluid is exactly what I'm using here with my portal gun. So I'm assuming I can set positions in here and then be able to teleport to those positions temporarily. I don't know, but I do know that we also have the regular portal gun, and I'm pretty sure we can also go cross-dimensional with the regular portal gun. I mean, for quick temporary access. Well, not like that. Now, here's the thing. I've been hearing from you guys a lot in the comments, and you guys have been telling me to, well, change my gear, like definitely get out of this pneumatic gear, but I am really, really liking this pneumatic gear. However, I do completely understand that. There's a lot more benefit to the other gear, especially considering it looks like the pneumatic craft gear has been nerfed tremendously, just basically by all of the major upgrades being gone. Like, we don't even have the jet boots or anything, but we do have other options down the road that will definitely make it a little bit easier for us to move around with some of the other gear. I'm just hoping that that is a let's do this later sort of thing, instead of a, hey, you're forcibly going to be required to do this because you're going to lose all your gear going into this portal. I am, I'm a little nervous, if you can't tell, by what is about to happen. But I guess we might as well risk it all and go ahead and at least get a taste of what this portal's like. If anything, we do have a way back home, but I'm hoping that we're going to be just fine. Venturing into a new dimension, new portal, new area, new location. I'm just really nervous about this. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and make our way, to the Rift portal itself. There we go. Okay. We're about to head into the Rift. I hope you guys are ready for this. I am not ready for this. But I did leave you hanging last episode, so I guess it's time to dive in. Oh, man. Fingers crossed we don't lose anything. Oh, wow. Whoa. He's already throwing stuff. Okay, that was really quick. Okay. We had only a few seconds. Literally a few seconds. I blinked. I didn't even get to see exactly what was there other than a big guy throwing rocks at me. Wait, can we go back? Please, can we go back? Oh, each time it uses the portal fluid? Oh, these monsters, these absolute fiends. That's why we get another bucket of portal fluid, a random relic crate. Ooh, that sounds really nice. Interesting. Okay. I didn't teleport home. Instead, for a very brief moment, I saw a completely new dimension. Then I was forcibly removed. I felt the dark energy there. Something keeping this portal from allowing me to go home. I should find a way to explore this dimension and stop that energy from taking over the portal. Craft the Empower and learn how to empower yourself. Ooh, so we're gonna have to get into some actually additions here. So what exactly does this mean, getting into actually additions? Well, actually additions has an Empower that we're going to need to work on. By the way, we ended up getting a spore sack. What does this do? A simple burlap sack filled to the brim with a deadly miasma? Great, I can't read to save my life. Okay, when the players drop below 50%, it releases up to 4 homing spores around them. They'll deal damage equal to 21% of the player's missing health. Ooh. That sounds like a good way to kill the things you don't actually want to kill around you. I prefer not to have the have things that like could potentially like destroy things that you absolutely want to keep alive. But anyways, that's beside the point. We're talking about actually additions, right? So actually additions. Yes, the classic mod has an Empower, and it looks like we need to make set in power and at least get it set up. Now, technically, I already have like the major thing that is needed in order to set this thing up. And that is this little guy right over here. And if I go ahead and turn on my Jade, we can see it's the atomic reconstructor. So we use this to actually convert some materials, and you can see I have a pressure plate that is just laid down. And so yes, the beam will hit the items and convert them. And we need to do this for a few components. So if I go ahead and add these to my list over here of things that I need to craft, we can go ahead and get this started. Now, I did notice that the Empower battery doesn't have a crafting recipe, but hold up. That may just be a JEI issue. We should still be able to craft this. I'll just have to find that recipe, whether that is through the wiki or actually looking at the JSON files that are inside of the mod. And well, this may be fixed by the time you're watching it. I have no idea, or it'll be fixed in the future. It's just a small little blip that, you know, sometimes happens from time to time. Now, there's a few things I definitely recommend making, and that is the like empowered, or not really empowered versions, but the transformed versions of our base materials. It's used for a lot of crafting here. For example, we can make void crystals. Void crystals are just the atomic reconstructor and us throwing in coal. So if I go over here and I toss in some coal, that's going to get immediately converted into void crystals. Same thing with redstone turning into redstonia. And then we also have a nori, which is going to be iron. These are all like basic components here. And then even diamond has its own conversion. So we'll toss diamond down in here and that gets turned into diamantine. All of these are like the basic materials for this mod. Now, speaking of the battery and how do we craft this? Well, I'm almost positive it's the exact same recipe that it's been over the years, which means we are going to need to make some basic coils to be able to get that basic battery. So I have a basic coil and then we'll use that and we'll convert some of those into the advanced coils. The advanced coils, we should be able to do a recipe that looks a little bit like this. So if we go to actual additions and we take the Inori wraps around like this, and this is how we get our first tier battery. And I don't know if that tier battery is even technically showing as craftable. It doesn't look like it just yet, but it's just simply a redstonia crystal on the top and then the Inori on the bottom. And there we go. We get ourselves a single battery. So yes, sometimes there can be issues with mods having support for JEI, which is over here. And yeah, it's definitely the case showing right here. Now to make the double battery, which is the one that we're going to need, well, we just remove the redstonia crystal, replace it with another advanced coil, put that in the center and then the battery up in the top. And there we go. We have ourselves a double battery. So there's the recipe, just in case you are wondering if this isn't fixed by the time you're watching. There you go. Now we can't use this battery just yet because we still need display stands, and we're going to need 5 display stands in total. And this requires the aesthetic green quartz and a little bit of aesthetic quartz. Both of these are very easy to make. It's just blocks of quartz, and the aesthetic is blocks of quartz, just the chiseled variant of it. And the chiseled, right, is just quartz slabs. So yeah, for each of these, by the way, let's see, it makes 1. So in total, we'll have 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 13, 14, 15, 16. Look at that. So yeah, 16 in total is basically what we're going to need in order to make all 5. Toss those in, and now we have everything needed, and we should be ready to go. Well, of course, that assumes that we have enough of the coils, because I didn't make enough of this. And there we go. Bam! We now have ourselves an Empowerer. And we also have the other display stands ready to go. Now, looks like we get a little bit of experience here, but then we start to work on the thing we're going to be needing here. And this is where things get a little bit interesting, because we're going to need something called a Heisenberg compensator. And then we're also going to need the Promethium. That is kind of ridiculous looking. And then also a teleportation core. All of this is kind of leading into mechanism autocrafting, some kind of Oritech autocrafting, and also Oritech autocrafting here with something that's called an atomic forge. This honestly feels like a wild skip forward. Now, even though we might not be able to use this just yet, I do want to show you what it actually looks like to set this up. You place in the Empower and go over 2 blocks, and then you're going to place the display stand. It goes 2 blocks out, just like so, or technically you could say 3 blocks out, but they do need to receive some power. Now it looks like this doesn't look like it's receiving power, even though it should be. In the bottom here, what I can do is just place a gate. And the only thing that needs to be powered are the stands themselves. So I am going to place some power down on the bottom with, like I said, gates. I love that we now have gates like this. There we go. And now that that is connected in, it should be sending, like I said, the power into the machines. And this is going to allow us to also do other empowered crafts for the mod itself. Oh, and by the way, if you are wondering how you can see those battery recipes again, if you just hit U while looking at the Inori crystal, for example, you can then see all of the recipes. For example, this is the recipe for the single battery. It just doesn't show up whenever you hit R over those recipes. But being able to see what Inori is used for allows you to definitely see those recipes. Now, reading further into some more of the quest, it looks like we also get a little bit of a response from wearing the Just Dire Things armor. So armor that we've made with the goo responds well to the Rift dimension, which is pretty cool. Like, all of this is actually pretty neat how it's all been kind of intertwined together. So it does say craft and equip the Celestigem or Eclipse alloy armor to further extend your Rift charge while in the Rift. So ultimately we need to make the Rift tuned crystal, which looks like it requires quite a bit here to be able to even make, including something that we don't have fully automated yet, right? Because we need to actually farm these abyssal fragments. So it's going to be an interesting process and something that thankfully we get 4 of. And I'm assuming each time we go in the Rift, it is going to use this up. So that is something I also need to keep in mind. Now, as far as this, we have the Unholy Intelligence. I don't know if this gets consumed. I have no idea. This is all new to me. And it looks like this is all done inside of an atomic forge. We also need Durathium. Durathium. I think that is a new ingot that it requires our platinum alloying with netherite. Ooh, thankfully we do have the ability to make netherite. Our sieving system actually does produce scrap, so that's not a big deal, I don't think. But look at all this. This is like the process here of just continuing up this process scale, going all the way up from carbon tubes and just basically all of the process that we've done prior we're going to be doing here. Here's something I need to figure out. Is this going to be something that I need to do full auto crafting for? Am I going to actually need now my applied energistics system to really put in the work? Or is this more or less going to be something that I need to grind out maybe once or twice because here soon we're going to have better means? I don't know. It looks like we can extend this further by getting into some occultism. We also need an infused diamond from RF Tools. Looks like a little bit of depth in or diving into EnderIO. Ooh, we do need a time crystal. And I'm assuming we get time crystals from within this dimension somehow. Ah, yes. Interesting. Now, farming time crystals. Oh, okay. So I was wondering how we would actually like farm these buds. It looks like we will start in the overworld, then we'll have to transfer it into the nether and then into a compact machine. And then that's ultimately where the crystals would grow. Okay, that's pretty cool. And unless it's been changed, I know that this could be grown with growth accelerators from Applied Energistics, making the process pretty fast. Now's where we need to look into the actual atomic forge, because it seems like that is the next thing to make on the list. And this is going to be the major thing that we are going to be using. So I have all of the materials minus the Durathium ingot. And so let's go ahead and make some of that. It's going to require netherite and platinum. In platinum, we have the ability to replicate. And technically netherite, we also have the ability to replicate. But I think for right now, I'm just going to toss it into the foundry, I think, right? Yes, it goes into the foundry. That's going to then process up. We'll see. I think within Oritech, right? I do have speed add-ons to extend this, to make it a little bit faster. But look at that. Beautiful. I'm going to do, I think, 15 of these or 16 of these for right now. I think that's going to be a good number. Because I don't want to start using up all of my platinum just yet. Now, another machine we're going to need, it looks like we're also going to need particle collision, or I guess we just make this recipe. Particle collision, though, seems really, really cool. This is how we can make some overcharged crystals. I'm just not sure how this all works. A particle accelerator line. Interesting. Now, I wonder with me going to this location, by the way, if our airdrops are any different now. Oh, this is all new stuff. Oh, this is 100%. A big solar panel from Oritech, and we got the overcharged crystals. Okay, yeah, things are definitely changing. An awakened premium axe? Wait a minute. They are a creative compressed iron block. This is creative heat, right? Right, all right. Creative only used to maintain any temperature you want. Wait, that is a permanent, like, creative. What? I've been down here this whole time and you could have sent me a creative items? Guys, come more, please. No, but like, seriously, look, what? I may be freaking out about this, but it's not only just like a heat source. It can also be a cooling source as well. That's why I'm like, what? Like, we can, like, if we get into any more new Minecraft stuff and we have issues with heat, we can just place this down and it literally solves all of our heat issues. And like this big solar panel, I wonder how much power this actually generates. It needs 15 cores in order to work. And what does it look like? I mean, I'm assuming once you place in all of the cores, oh, that would look so good on the roof if this works in water. I don't know if this machine will get wiped away like the pipes do in the water. I just placed in all of the cores, and this is actually what the solar panel looks like. I just use really basic cores though to do this. Yeah. Now, since I got this thing for free, I'm kind of curious, like, how this is actually going to function. Like, will it work underwater? Like, if I place it, for example, right here? Ah, interesting. So it doesn't look like it does like being placed underwater per se. We do have all of the blocks, but it won't let me place them in by right-clicking, which is something that you can do, by the way. Machine not assembled. Oh, we can click on the actual cores. Oh, nice. And then once we have all of them, then we can click. But it looks like it like takes up the space of the water. Does it actually work? No, it folds back down even though it is midday. And if I remove all of these and then try to place it, for example, up here on like our main platform. Yeah, it doesn't seem to work with underneath glass either. Just being underwater just doesn't seem to work at all. So we're not going to be able to get that like Subnautica effect, unfortunately, but I bet it would work out here. So it should stay like extended, right? And it only goes in whenever it doesn't have a sun. Yeah. So yeah, it stays extended when it does have access. And you can see it's generating 1024 RF with just those basic cores. Oh my. And then it continues to go up, I assume, from there. But this is absolutely crazy. And we do have the ability to automate permanent daytime with Ars Nouveau, but still, that's besides the point. I just wanted to show that this thing does exist, and it is pretty cool looking. Now, I think it's now time to start maybe extending our applied energistic system. So I am just running some pretty basic cables. Thankfully, these can be waterlogged underneath our chamber system here, and this should provide us with at least 16 channels just off this basic connection. This is actually going to be more than enough, I think, to handle most needs, considering we don't have to use like exporters and importers. Instead, we can just use interfaces and possibly use other means of transferring the items around. So we can give ourselves constant supplies of different materials just by running a cable. And I think I'm going to need these cables because I want to start kind of automating the process of converting some biomass into solid fuels. So stuff like this, right? This is going to be a good idea to get this probably up and running, so that way we can make plastic and have plastic on demand, because it looks like we're going to need a bit of it. And then I also want to do things like, I don't know, the centrifuge here, and possibly start to get into some auto crafting within applied energistics. You know what? Speaking of making all of that bio stuff, I think what I can do is maybe swap this drawer out and have it no longer produce logs, but instead we can have it produce, well, bales of hay. I think that would actually work out really nice. Yeah, this is going to be a really good product, I think, for getting this set up. We just need to attach a cable to an interface, and now we have access to this drawer, allowing us to send this anywhere. For example, we can send it right into the back here. This is going to be beautiful. Not up like I just did, but through the back. And if I go ahead and remove this as well, we can use like an export bus right here. I don't think that's going to be very bad in this particular case, but we'll say, hey, send hay bales into this. And I hope that we can actually send into the bottom of this Oritech machine. Let's pop into the side here. And are we receiving hay bales? Not yet, it doesn't look like. I really hope we can actually send into the bottom like that. Well, judging from it not working, I'm going to assume it doesn't. So I'll drag this over here. And now it's exporting the hay bales in. Okay, so it doesn't look like we can necessarily send it that way. We can also cover this, by the way, with facades very easily, but that's what we want. Hay bales going in here, and hay bales are being produced with replication. And this produces 16 biomass, which is going to be nice. And I set this to fill evenly. Now we've just got to send it planks of some sort. It looks like any plank will work. So I just ran another exporter right here, and I'll just say, hey, send it spruce planks. I don't have these on AutoCraft or anything like that, but it's going to be more than enough to keep this up and running for a while. So I now have some water running into the back of these with the machine add-ons, and this is going to set us up for some interesting automation here. So let's go ahead and grab some pipes. Like item pipes are going to work just fine because we're just essentially sending the product from this machine like this into this one, which is the solid biofuel, and then from this one into here once it has converted this. Well, I mean, this also assumes that I placed the fluid add-on in the correct location. I think this machine needs to be rotated. Yes, let's do this. I want these to be placed in that location, but I have to have them rotated like this in order for it to work. So I think this will work once I start sending it fluid. Yes, there we go. Now they're up and running. Perfect. And so with this beautiful chain of machines, I have now technically automated this process. Now, all of the other stuff, for the most part, I'm really not going to have to worry about the automation process for, but I did want to get this one up and running considering it was like multi-staged. And remember, the whole reason I'm making this is so I can get the atomic forge set up. We're going to need to make the atomic forge now, get all of the components ready to go for this. And it also looks like it is powered with the EnderIO lasers. And if you remember what lasers those are, that's the lasers that are over here that we're actually using to technically farm the amethyst. I'm actually not sure how this whole thing is set up, but we're going to be figuring this out together. So let's take a peep at what this whole thing looks like. Honestly, not as bad as I thought. It just has to be surrounded with cores. And I did make a whole stack of cores, which makes this a whole lot easier. These are still also just the basic cores. Now that that's done, that folds out. And we have this mess. I have no idea what to do with this, but I'm going to figure it out. Now, like I said, this can't be powered directly, so we are going to need a laser. So I'm going to go ahead and place a laser over here. It's kind of losing its marbles, it looks like. I think this also requires a core. Yes, that'll be completed. And then we can use our target designator. Shift right click here and then shift right click here. That is now linked, and let's go ahead and slap a gate onto this. Now this should be charging. Oh, and is all charged up, ready to go. So I think first things first, I need to produce quite a bit of these processing units. So thankfully I got the plastic up and running. Carbon tubes or strands are very, very easy to make. So is electrum. I got a whole bunch of that already stocked up. I mean, I think eventually the goal would be to have like a constant supply maybe being produced of these. But as of right now, I'm doing it by hand. This is probably more than enough. Now, I did go ahead and also get some silicon processed up because we're going to need a bunch of that. It looks like to make silicon wafers, it's actually going to be the first thing we send into our atomic forge to be engraved. So I think doing a stack at a time is going to be how this is going to go. We get it placed in, and honestly, I mean, it's doing it. It's definitely doing it. Max usage 1024 RF. It's honestly not too bad. I bet it would be, it's jiggling. I bet it would be a lot faster if we did have two of these technically going into it. But I mean, this seems to be just fine, really. All right, I will say that the jiggling is hilarious. It's wiggling all over the place. Now, I think if I'm doing my math correctly here, if we start off with a stack of these, this is going to end up going down, and we're using 2, which means that our stack turns into 32, and then we're going to have to use 2 of these to make the Super AI chips. That means we will end up, I believe, with only 16 of these from a single stack of silicon wafers. And then down once more from a single stack, the Super AI chips are going to then produce the Heisenberg compensators, which is actually what we need, meaning that out of this whole process of doing this over and over again, we're just going to end up with 8. Now, I'm Keeping on in this process, like I said, I just explained how these will be processed up. It looks like the power is still the same. So this is the advanced computing engine, but we do have more to take a look at, right? So we are also going to need overcharged crystals. And before we get into the particle collision, there is a more expensive recipe that allows us to get into it without doing the particle just yet, because, well, the particle stuff is also going to require this in the first place, right? It's going to require a little bit of these items. So before we do anything with particle stuff, which is probably going to be down the road and also risk the potential of, well, creating a black hole, we should definitely look at this recipe here. So this is very, very easy. All of these things are really, really nice. The energetic ingot, nothing. It's just an alloy. It's really not that bad to make. It does, however, require those fluxite, which we do have constantly running. But the superconductor, these things right here are kind of expensive. They do require the dubious container, I think that's how it's pronounced, which does require all of this stuff, including more plastic sheets, right? And the adamantite ingot, or adamant ingot, but also the flux gate. So I do want to make more of the flux gates, and this is a big one. This is also going to use more of those processing units. So I did add a machine extender onto here to be able to add more machine speed add-ons. I'm not worried about how much power or efficient this is. I'm more worried about, well, making this faster because it is pretty slow. Now, another thing I could do is potentially make more advanced cores. So if I take these, apparently we can use these to make the advanced cores. And I don't know if adding on to this is going to change anything dramatically. But if I break this and I use these cores, I'm thinking that it will give it a speed boost potentially, allowing this to work a bit faster and possibly cost more power as well. So yes, let's go ahead and do this. Oh, we can't automatically place the items in. That's fine. I think I remember the recipe. It's like this. There we go. Woo! And that used up all the power. I don't think, though, by the way, that it is going to be any faster. We'll have to see. Let's put a gate back on here. And is it any faster? It's really hard for me to tell, actually. It does say current quality process 4, and that's because of the machine, but still I have no idea what that means. Ah, so it allows you to have more layers of machine add-ons. Interesting. I am learning so much about this. Okay. So it added another port, I think, to the side or the back, unless that already existed there, where we can add more extenders and, well, just add more to the machine like this. So now that we have the advanced computing engines, like I said, we're splitting this down even further, and I'm going to let this run for a little while. Looks like this might take a bit longer. Yeah, it looks like this is taking significantly longer, which I guess is good because it gives us a little bit of time for these processing units. Oh, now this is interesting. Apparently these only stack up to 4? Artificial brilliance. Very, very nice. They only stack up to 4. That's, huh. Now this I feel is huge, right? We're going to take our 2 now chips and we are going to feed it in here. I guess we could do 4, right? And this is the next step. Oh wait, no, it's the other way around. Other way around. Oh, I was close. All right. I'm just going off of my memory. There we go. This is going to take 60 ticks, it looks like, to complete the operation, even though that would be 60 ticks. I'm assuming if I was giving it enough power, I'm fine with this speed though. Now, I did go ahead and start making superconductors. This is actually not too bad at all these individual components, especially since I am now making more flux gates. But I found this kind of funny. For some reason, the super AI chips, they only stack to 4, but the Heisenberg compensators, you know, I thought they were going to stack to 1, but yeah, they don't seem to have an issue at all. Now, the reason I need these compensators is because I need to take this right here, which I'm getting more than I thought I was going to end up having overall. I thought I was only going to have 8. No, I was going to have 16. But with these, I then need to split them into 8, right? Because we're going to take 8 of these. These are actually going to be used in the ultimate operation to be able to make these Rift-attuned crystals. But, well, we also need to make the promethium, and promethium is used to make these really cool weapons and stuff. But I think outside of that, like we have to use them for ultimately the empowered stuff, right? So to make these by hand for right now, we have to put it back in this machine here and we need to use the overcharge crystals. So this is where all of this is coming into play. And I think I now have enough superconductors that I can successfully make these. I mean, we're going to need a few of these. Oh, and these do not stack either. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm thinking that was not enough superconductors. I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there, I think. Right? This, oh, it uses 4 each, even though we're only crafting 3 at a time. So, yes, I need to then take these out, place this in, and this, and there we go. Oh, and the time is significantly doubled on this. That's going to take a lot of power and a lot more time. I will say, though, it's been kind of an interesting journey. Like, up through this point, as we've done all of this, we're kind of guided just really, like, kind of nonchalantly into, like, flux gates. And you're like, oh, here you go. But then as soon as we hit the rift section, it's like, okay, here's a million tasks that you now need to just figure out. Good luck. And it also kind of hurts a bit knowing that we're about to make items that are consumable, I assume, that are going to get used up. And there we go. We now have a Promethium. Look at that. Promethean fire. Oh my goodness. So, like I said, this can be used for other things. We also have, oh, endlessly. Heart of the Rift. Burning endlessly. Is this something that makes... I don't have a clue what that means. Oh, that must be the item that ultimately allows you to stay in there indefinitely. Ah, because this is like the next tier, right? It uses these items, more Promethean. And then this one needs time crystal blocks. So I think the main goal is we have to get in there and we have to get a hold of some of these time crystals so that way we can make them, extend our time even more by getting even more of these crystals, and then ultimately getting ourselves an unlimited time one. Oh, that's a lot to think about. Now, I mean, at this point, I don't want to miss these airdrops. I mean, we just got one creative item earlier. Like, what's the chance of us getting something else even crazier? Awakened shovel? What is that? A chorus inhibitor? I don't know. And we just got a tank filled with Eclipse. 64 buckets of Eclipse Ember fuel. What is even going on right now? Have we hit a point where it's like, this is the true end game? Oh, we just got given a free Promethium and a free Heisenberg. What? Now with all of this set up, oh my goodness. I think we are 100% ready to craft this item. I'm pretty excited about this. Okay, so this is going to grant us access to the Rift timer? The Rift attuned crystal. We're gonna have 5 minutes. Technically, it's more than that because we're gonna end up with 4 of these for this craft, which is really, really good. Because, man, I couldn't imagine if you didn't get that many. This would feel really, really painful. But we need to place one of the Heisenberg compensators over here. And then we have our beautiful Promethium, then an Echo Shard, and then finally a teleportation core. Very, very easy for this to make. Everything else is just waiting on the Abyssal Pearl to go in the middle. This I did just jump over and farmed more of the Abyssal Fragments. You just have to redo one of the trial spawners. But there we go. As soon as we have this, we click it, and it crafts. And then we just kind of wait. And I don't know how much. Oh! Okay. We just got hit with a rift charge indicator of some sort that popped up. This also has a rift charge. It says 33%. So I have no idea how this actually functions. A counter that keeps track of the rift charge. Now, I do know, before we go into the rift, I do want to also make more of the gear, but I think that's going to honestly have to wait until next episode, because today we are essentially all out of time. And so I think next episode, we are going to explore the rift, and we are after a very particular item. We really need to get our hands on the time crystal, because without a time crystal, we really won't be able to progress. And that also means I need to extend my time more by making the dire gear. And by the time we upgrade our dire gear and we infuse ourselves with the goo material, I think we're going to be we're going to be ready to take on this place. And I think we're going to conquer it very, very quickly. So guys, if you have enjoyed this series, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and well, give this video a huge thumbs up. It has been a journey thus far, and I really do appreciate all of the comments that you guys have posted. It really does mean a lot to me when I go through and read them, basically every single day. Now also, don't forget to follow me over on Twitch if you haven't already. I do live stream quite a bit. I've been doing a lot of immersive engineering over there. It's been kind of fun actually, with, you know, a pack that essentially is just that mod. And also, I do want to say a huge thanks, by the way, to the supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Marmac. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible. And absolutely going above and beyond by supporting me over on the Discord. Thank you so very much and becoming a premium member. Guys, if you're interested in joining the Discord, be sure to check it out. Link down in the description below. That's the easiest way to find it, or you can go to discord.gg/ChosenArchitect. And well, guys, that is it for me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.